Listen to me. The moments that shattered you were not signs of your weakness. They were the birthplace of your becoming. And if you're sitting there feeling fractured, unloved, unseen, or abandoned, stay with me for 10 seconds. Because what broke you is about to reveal the strongest version of you that you've never met yet. There is a moment in every human life when the world feels like it has collapsed inward. When the weight on your chest becomes too real, too heavy, too unexplainable, and you whisper to yourself, why me? Why now? Why this? We don't talk about those moments publicly. We hide them behind smiles, filters, and rehearse lines like, I'm fine, but brokenness, real, raw, soul-level brokenness is the doorway to transformation. Not because pain is noble, not because suffering makes you holy, but because when everything familiar falls apart, you finally meet a version of yourself you've never had to call on before, a braver you, a wiser you, a more grounded, more resilient, more awake you. Broken moments don't destroy you. They strip you. They peel back every illusion you carried about your worth, your identity, your strength. And in that naked, trembling space, the truth appears, the truth that you are far more powerful than you ever imagined. So if you feel broken right now, don't turn away. Don't numb it. Don't run. You are standing at the birthplace of strongest self. There is a specific kind of fall that doesn't just hurt you. It changes you. It's the fall where life pulls the rug from under your certainty, your plans, your identity, and suddenly you're staring at pieces you never thought you'd have to rearrange. Maybe it was a heartbreak that felt like a knife to your confidence. Maybe it was a betrayal that made you question your worth. Maybe it was a quiet, private breaking, the kind only you know about, the kind you can't even put into words. Whatever your fall looked like, it wasn't just a moment, it was an awakening disguised as loss, because the fall forces you into a truth we avoid at all costs. You can't pretend to be strong anymore. You can't hide behind performance anymore. You can't cling to who you used to be. When life breaks you, it removes the luxury of denial. It strips you of the masks you wore to feel accepted, loved enough. And in that terrifying free fall, in that moment where you have nothing left to grip, you meet the rawest version of yourself, not the polished self, not the self that fits the world's expectations, but the self who feels deeply, the self who sees clearly, the self who rises differently. This fall isn't the end of you. It's the end of the version of you that could not carry your future. What you call breaking, life calls reshaping. Pain has a way of convincing you that you're fragile, that you can be shattered beyond repair, that one heartbreak, one loss, one disappointment can erase everything strong and beautiful about you. But here's the truth we rarely dare to say out loud: your pain is not proof of your weakness. It's the echo of your capacity to feel, to care, to love, to hope. If you were weak, you wouldn't hurt this deeply. If you were weak, you wouldn't still be standing after everything that tried to break you. Weak people collapse, but you're still breathing, still searching for meaning, still fighting for yourself, even if quietly. Sometimes your strength doesn't roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it shows up as one small decision: I will not let this pain define me. And that decision is not small at all. There is a fierce, unbreakable force inside you that only reveals itself when life gets heavy. A strength you didn't know you had until the world pushed you to your knees. A strength that only pain could uncover. Think about it. The moments that hurt you the most also taught you the most. They made you wiser, more discerning, more compassionate, more aware of what you deserve and what you'll never allow again. Your pain didn't destroy you. It carved out space for your strongest self to step forward. And that version of you is just beginning to rise. There's a moment in healing that nobody prepares you for. The moment you have to sit with your brokenness without trying to fix it, hide it, or outrun it. We live in a world obsessed with quick recoveries. Move on, be strong, pretend it doesn't hurt. But true strength isn't pretending. True strength is presence. It takes courage, real trembling bone, deep courage, to sit with the parts of yourself that feel shattered, To say, yes, this hurts. Yes, I'm scared. Yes, I don't know what tomorrow looks like, but I'm still here. Most people run from their pain because sitting with it feels unbearable. But here's the paradox. Your brokenness is not your enemy. Your avoidance is. When you finally stop running, something remarkable happens. You hear yourself again. You hear the anger you swallowed, the sadness you buried, the needs you ignored, the boundaries you never enforced, the truth you were too afraid to speak. Brokenness becomes a mirror, a sharp, honest, unfiltered mirror reflecting everything you've suppressed for years. And once you see it, really see it, you can no longer lie to yourself. This is where your transformation begins, not in perfection, not in pretending, not in hiding, but in sitting with the parts of yourself once feared and choosing to face them with compassion rather than shame. Because the moment you stop abandoning your broken self, you begin the journey of becoming whole again. We live in a world obsessed with speed, fast answers, fast recoveries, fast transformations. But rebuilding yourself after being broken is not a race. It is a slow, sacred, deeply human process, and it does not happen on a timeline that makes sense to other people. Healing is not linear. Some days you rise like you were never shattered. Other days you feel like you're crawling through the pieces all over again. But every slow step counts. Every small act of choosing yourself matters. Rebuilding doesn't always look powerful. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed when your heart feels heavy. Drinking water when your throat is tight from crying. Saying no when your old self would have said yes. Taking a walk to silence the noise in your mind. Letting go of someone who kept breaking you. Starting a new habit that honors your worth. These tiny choices are not insignificant. They are bricks. Bricks that rebuild the foundation of who you're becoming. And here's the beautiful truth: slow rebuilding is sustainable rebuilding. You don't have to rush your strength. You don't have to rush your clarity. You don't have to rush your transformation. The strongest version of you isn't formed in one big breakthrough. They are formed in the quiet, patient, consistent moments where you keep choosing healing, even on the days it feels impossible. Honor your pace. Honor your progress. Honor the slow rebirth happening within you. Because slow growth often becomes the strongest growth. Every breaking point carries a message, not a punishment, not a curse, not a sign that you're unworthy, but a lesson wrapped in pain, waiting to be understood. When life breaks you, it doesn't just take something away. It reveals something you weren't ready to see before. Maybe it showed you that you were giving too much of yourself to people who gave too little in return. Maybe it exposed the places where you betrayed your own boundaries just to be loved. Maybe it revealed how you silenced your needs because you feared disappointing others. Maybe it taught you that your heart was never meant to shrink to make someone else feel comfortable. Breaking moments peel back illusions. They illuminate the truth you tried so hard to overlook. And yes, the truth hurts, but the truth also frees you. These lessons aren't gentle. They are loud, disruptive, sometimes devastating. But they carry wisdom you could not have gained any other way. You learned who was real. You learned who was loyal. You learned who cared only when it was convenient. And most importantly, you learned what you deserve. You learned that your heart is not a bargaining chip. Your worth is not negotiable. Your spirit is not disposable. The breaking didn't happen to destroy you. It happened to teach you what your soul had been whispering for years. You deserve better. You deserve more. You deserve yourself. Your lessons are not your losses. They are your liberation. People think rising after being broken is loud, a dramatic comeback, a bold transformation, a grand announcement. But the real rise, the one that changes your life, always begins quietly. It begins in the moments no one sees, when you're alone with your thoughts, when the world has stopped expecting anything from you, when your heart is tired, but still somehow whispering, try again, just one more time. Your rise shows up as tiny sparks before it becomes a flame. That morning you open the curtains again. Night you pray even though you're angry. That breath you take after crying, when you realize you're still here, that small decision to hope, even when hope feels dangerous, that shift inside you when you say, I deserve peace, and you start choosing it. These are not small things. These are the first signs of resurrection. You rise the moment you refuse to stay where your pain left you. You rise the moment you choose truth over denial. You rise the moment you stop apologizing for needing healing. You rise the moment you begin trusting yourself again, and the world won't notice it at first. Your rise will look like stillness, like silence, like nothing has changed. But everything has, because rising doesn't start with a step. It starts with a decision, a quiet, courageous, deeply personal decision. This pain will not be the end of me. That's where the strongest version of you begins to take shape, in the quiet places where your soul chooses to rise before your life shows it. There comes a moment in every healing journey when you catch a glimpse of yourself and think, who is this person I'm becoming? Not in fear, but in awe, because breaking does something extraordinary. It introduces you to a version of yourself you never knew existed. You start noticing shifts, quiet, powerful shifts. You say no without guilt. You walk away from chaos without shaking. You choose peace over attention. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself without hesitation. And the old you, the one who tolerated too much, cared too loudly for the wrong people, softened your truth to keep others comfortable, that version of you starts to fade. Not because you're colder now, not because you're harder now, but because you're wiser. You finally understand that your heart is not a weakness. It's a gift, one that no longer belongs to people who mishandled it. You feel yourself becoming more grounded, more discerning, more aligned with the life you deserve, more unapologetic about what you want, what you need, what you dream. And slowly, beautifully, you become a person the old you didn't believe you could be, a person with boundaries, a person with self-respect, a person with a spine made of truth and a heart made of courage. This transformation isn't an accident. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It is the direct result of everything that once broke you and everything in you that refused to stay broken. There is a strength that can only be earned, not taught, not inherited, not borrowed. A strength born from surviving what should have destroyed you. This strength doesn't look like perfection. It doesn't look like confidence on display. It doesn't even look like certainty. It looks like endurance. It looks like quiet resilience. It looks like a heart that has been tested and still chooses to stay open. You earned this strength the hard way. Through the nights you cried until your bones felt hollow. Through the days you held yourself together when you didn't know how. Through the moments you whispered, I can't do this, yet somehow you did it anyway. Every time you got back up, even if it was slow, even if it was messy, you were building a kind of strength that no one can take from you. Not the world, not heartbreak, not disappointment, not fear. This strength lives in your decisions now, in the way you no longer chase validation, in the way you walk away from people who take more than they give, in the way you protect your peace with intention, in the way you trust your intuition over empty promises. You became someone who understands that strength is not about being unbreakable. It's about becoming unshakable. Life didn't just test you. It revealed you. It revealed a spirit that refuses to collapse, a heart that refuses to turn cold, a soul that refuses to stay small. And the strength you carry now was built from the pieces you once thought were ruined. Now, take a deep breath and look at yourself. Really look. Not at the scars, not at the wounds, not at the moments that broke you, but at you, the one who endured, the one who rose, the one who is still standing, still feeling, still daring to be alive and whole. Your broken moments were not your failure. They were the forge that shaped your resilience. They were the fire that melted away fear, pretense, and hesitation. They were the doorway into the life you were always capable of living. Your strongest self isn't someone perfect. It isn't someone flawless or unshakable. It is someone real, someone brave enough to face pain and gentle enough to honor healing. Someone who trusts their own worth without apology. Someone who moves forward with courage, even when the path is uncertain. So stand tall, even if trembling. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Love yourself fiercely, even if the world doubts you. And never forget, the cracks you once hit are now the very places light shines through. You have been broken, you have been tested, you have been humbled. And yet here you are stronger, wiser, freer, and more alive than you ever imagined possible. This is your triumph. This is your transformation. This is your strongest self. Embrace it. Own it. And never let anyone convince you otherwise.